Hello, and welcome to tonight's show. We're diving headfirst into a topic that's both complex and deeply unsettling: the US government's funding of biohazard labs in Wuhan, China. Now, before you adjust your dials thinking you've stumbled onto a late-night rerun of the X-Files, let me assure you, this is all too real. For years, the United States, through various government agencies, has been funneling millions of dollars into research involving dangerous pathogens. Think of it as your tax dollars going towards giving viruses a serious upgrade. Why? Well, the official line is to study these viruses, understand them better, and hopefully develop ways to combat them. It's like poking a sleeping bear with a stick, but instead of a bear, it's a deadly virus, and instead of a stick, it's millions of your hard-earned dollars. But recently, this funding has come under intense scrutiny, particularly in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Turns out, some of this research was happening in Wuhan, at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a name that no doubt sends shivers down your spine. And at the heart of this controversy is a group called EcoHealth Alliance. Now you might be thinking, EcoHealth Alliance? Sounds like a bunch of tree-hugging hippies, not bioweapons enthusiasts. Well, buckle up because things are about to get weird. So, who or what is EcoHealth Alliance? They're a non-profit organization focused on, you guessed it, ecological health. Think pandemics, emerging diseases, that sort of thing. And for years they've been receiving millions of dollars in grants from the US government, specifically from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, or NIAID. Now, NIAID is a big deal. They're the guys responsible for researching and responding to infectious diseases. And who was the head honcho at NIAID for almost 4 decades? None other than Dr. Anthony Fauci. Yes, that Anthony Fauci. Now here's where things get murky. EcoHealth Alliance, with its shiny new NIAID grants, decided to partner up with the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And what were they researching? Bat coronaviruses, you know, those adorable nocturnal creatures that are basically flying petri dishes for all sorts of nasty viruses. This wasn't just a one-time fling with danger. The US, through EcoHealth Alliance and other organizations, has been funding research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology for over a decade. Millions of dollars, year after year, went towards studying these bat coronaviruses. And this wasn't just your run-of-the-mill research, we're talking about gain-of-function research. Now what is gain-of-function research, you might ask? It's basically taking a virus that's already pretty good at being a virus and making it even better. Think of it as giving a virus a PhD and being a pain in the neck. Scientists tweak the virus's genetic code to make it more transmissible, more deadly, or even able to infect new species. It's like giving a toddler a loaded gun and hoping they don't point it at anything important. Now, the scientific community is divided on the merits of gain-of-function research. Some argue that it's crucial for understanding how viruses evolve and developing vaccines and treatments. Others say it's like playing with fire. If a souped-up virus were to escape the lab, it could have catastrophic consequences. And guess what? There's a long and troubling history of lab accidents involving dangerous pathogens. But hey, what could go wrong, right? So, we have US taxpayer dollars going towards risky research on dangerous viruses in a Chinese lab with questionable safety protocols. Not exactly the most reassuring thought, is it? Now, if you're starting to feel a little uneasy about all of this, you're not alone. One of the biggest issues with the US funding of research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology was the lack of transparency. It's like trying to get information out of a black hole. The details of the research, the safety protocols, the oversight, it was all shrouded in secrecy. Even Congress had a hard time getting straight answers. And when the COVID-19 pandemic hit and the world started looking for answers, well, let's just say the Chinese government wasn't exactly forthcoming with information. They were about as transparent as a brick wall. This lack of transparency only fueled speculation and conspiracy theories about the origins of the virus. Section 6. The COVID-19 outbreak, a turning point. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, and suddenly, all eyes were on Wuhan. The city where the virus first emerged just happened to be the home of a lab studying bat coronaviruses. Coincidence? Perhaps. But the timing was certainly suspicious. The pandemic threw a harsh spotlight on the potential risks of gain-of-function research and the lack of transparency surrounding it. People started asking questions. Hard questions. Questions like, why are we funding this kind of research in the first place? And what the hell is going on in that lab in Wuhan? Section 7. The fallout investigations, debarment, and public outrage. The fallout was swift and severe. The US government launched investigations into the origins of the virus and the funding of research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. EcoHealth Alliance, once a darling of the scientific community, found itself in hot water. They were accused of mishandling funds, failing to properly oversee the research in Wuhan, and even engaging in a cover-up. The National Institutes of Health, NIAID's parent organization, eventually suspended funding to EcoHealth Alliance. And just recently, the Wuhan Institute of Virology was barred from receiving any future US funding. It was a stunning fall from grace for both organizations. Section 8. A divided scientific community, support and skepticism. The scientific community, meanwhile, found itself deeply divided. Some scientists defended EcoHealth Alliance and the research they were doing, arguing that it was crucial for understanding and combating emerging diseases. They claimed that the accusations against EcoHealth Alliance were politically motivated, and that shutting down this kind of research would only make us more vulnerable to future pandemics. Others, however, were highly critical of both EcoHealth Alliance and the gain-of-function research they were conducting. They argued that the risks of such research outweighed the potential benefits, and that the lack of transparency surrounding the research in Wuhan was deeply troubling. Section 9. Unanswered questions. The search for truth continues. So, where do we go from here? The truth, as they say, is out there somewhere. The origins of the COVID-19 pandemic are still shrouded in mystery. Did the virus jump from bats to humans naturally, or was it the result of a lab accident? We may never know for sure. What we do know is that the US funding of biohazard labs in Wuhan has raised serious questions about the risks of gain-of-function research, the need for greater transparency and oversight, and the potential for international collaboration to go horribly wrong. And as we continue to grapple with the devastating consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, one thing is clear: the search for answers must continue, because the next pandemic is always just around the corner, and next time, we might not be so lucky. That's our show for tonight. Good night and try to sleep well, you'll need it.